everyone. Welcome to Cancer Healing Journey Talks. Myself Sonali Modi from Community Outreach Team of ZenOnco.io and Love Heals Cancer. Cancer Healing Journey Talks help cancer survivors and caregivers to share their story with vast number of other caregivers and survivors who have traveled or been traveling to this journey. It can also inspire and motivate them for their faster recovery as well. So firstly, I would like to introduce you to today's speaker, Miss Cindy Morel. She is a cancer survivor. I am happy that you are here with us today to share your story. So over to you. Please start with the introduction.
Thank you so much. Thank you for inviting me to this. I was like, I love it, right? I love sharing my story. So my name is Cindy Morel. I am currently 37 years old. I have two kids. At the age of 30, I was going to be 31. I found a lump, right, in my breast, which was the scariest thing ever because I thought to myself, it cannot be cancer. I'm too young, right? So, and I want to start the introduction with that because it's very important that people understand that you're not too young, right? That you have to get checked because I ignored it for. I found the lump in December. I didn't get it checked out into April, which was almost the beginning of May. It was 5 months, later. So it's very important. But I am originally from New York City, right? So it doesn't matter where you're from. This happens to everyone, right?
Yeah.
And the statistics are even higher now for women. So it's so important, that we know that. So I wanted to start with that. But it's gonna sound crazy, but it's been a beautiful journey because it was scary, right? It had like all of these emotions. It was scary. I was scared. I didn't know what was gonna happen, but I have faith that whatever was the outcome, I was gonna come out in the other side. That everything was gonna be okay, right? But the process was not beautiful, But so I found the lump. I didn't get it checked out until a few months later because I had lost some weight, and then now the lump, like, I can see it, right? So that's why I share that, like, it's very important. If you feel anything in any part of your body that's abnormal, you don't feel good, to get it checked out. And if they tell you it's nothing, because I was told that it was just probably a cyst my first time that I went to check it out. And since it kept growing, I went for a second opinion. So it's very important that if you feel, when something's wrong in your body, go and see another doctor, right?
Yes.
So at that time it was scary. I was living in Florida, in Miami at the time, and my family they were in New York City. So it was something scary to tell them that I had cancer, you know and a lot of family members didn't react good. They were scared. Some people were distant. So many emotions go, so many things happen, and so many emotions happen when something like this happens to you, right?
Yes.
And you have two choices. You can either see it as the most terrible thing in the world, or you can see it as just part of your journey, of your life journey, right? And I saw it as part of my life journey. Like, this is my story. I'm gonna be able to one day help a lot of women to just overcome this. Because
Yes.
what happens is, right, I had to undergo chemo. My hair fell out. I wasn't worried about that, but and so it happens, right? And you have no hair, and you're bald, you have no eyebrows, and you're tired from all the chemo treatments, and then they tell you, we have to remove your breast. So I got both of my breasts removed. I only had cancer on the left side, but they did the genetics exam, and it turned out that it was a genetic, and that's why I got cancer at that age, right? This is according to the doctors. Um, so I don't really know who has the gene in my family. Um, I think it's the BRCA one, but even that, like, I was like, okay, that's fine. Like, okay, how are we gonna fix this, right? When the doctor said you have cancer, I'm like, okay, like, and she told me, she's like, what do you mean? How we're gonna fix this? Are you okay? Like, people are normally crying, and I'm like, I'm not gonna cry because I knew that it was something. I had stage 4 cancer at that time. So I had to wait, and then the results, what the outcome that they wanted was very aggressive, right? So I had to do chemo. They wanted me to do radiation. They wanted me to remove the breast. They wanted me to do everything. And everybody goes through um, a different path, a different journey. Some people don't need to remove their breast, right? And some people don't need, they might just need radiation or they might need chemo. I needed to do all three. I didn't do radiation. I opted out of it. But it was something that they had required me to do. Um, so do you have any questions? Or do you want me to
Yes.
just keep on?
Yeah.
Okay.
So how many chemotherapy cycles you went through?
How many one?
Chemotherapy
Chemo?
cycles. Yeah.
I had it for, I don't remember exactly how many they were, but it was 8 months. I do remember the time.
Okay.
'Cause
And
again,
in which year you got diagnosed?
in 2015. 15, yeah.
Okay.
Because I found the lump in 2014 and it was in 2015. So on June, I remember the date. It was June 12th, 2015. I'm never gonna forget the day, right? That I was told that I have breast cancer. And
Okay.
then I had my mastectomy in February of 2016 because I
Hmm.
finished chemo January of 2016. So it was 8 months of chemo.
Okay. And did you try any alternative treatment?
So can I speak freely here?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
So my family are from the Caribbean. So when I was diagnosed, my dad lives in Dominican Republic. He told me about, I don't know how you guys call it, but we call it guanabana, and
Okay.
in English it's called sour soup. Sour soup, sour trip soup, something like that. It's a fruit.
Okay, it's a
It's a
fruit.
fruit.
Hmm.
So they told me about the fruit. So they made in Florida. I was able to get the fruit. It's a very difficult fruit to get by, and it's
Hmm.
not in season all the time. So that season, that I was able to get the fruit. I would take it every day. The leaf to that fruit, right? And I honestly, I know, disclaimer. I am not a doctor, but just personally for myself, what I did. Um, Once I started taking these things, the following month when I went to the doctor to check on the size, it was shrinking, and I had just undergone one chemo. So when I went to the doctor, like in my mind, my doctor's like, "Oh, the chemo is working," but in my heart, I said, "No, I think it's the fruit. Like me, I feel like whatever you do with faith is gonna work, right?" So and it just kept shrinking, shrinking, shrinking. I still went through with the chemotherapy because I had already started, and I was like, I'm not a professional, but I still did my natural stuff, my holistic stuff. There was also I don't remember what were the ingredients. Anything that everybody told me to do that was natural, I did. So
Hmm.
my mom had told me about a drink. She actually came to Florida and made it for me. It was like molasses with some other, with aloe, the aloe plant, and some other ingredients, right?
Hmm.
And I would take that too. So that's why, like, I honestly feel that everything was a combination. I am not, I don't really like medicine in the sense of, I believe that there's other natural ways that you can do things, right? So at the time, because I know my cancer was very aggressive, it was being fed by my estrogen. And as a woman, you cannot like just remove the estrogen from your body. It's
Hmm.
something natural, but that's actually what was feeding the cancer. So so at that time, anything that was natural, but that's one of the things that I was doing, and I feel honestly that helps a lot. Whenever someone is diagnosed with cancer, they ask me like, what should I drink, what should I eat? And I tell them, definitely try to get your hands on some of that. It's a very difficult food to get a hand of, especially
Yes.
here in the States.
Hmm.
And it's very expensive. I
Hmm.
found one the other day, and it was like $50 a pound for the fruits. It was crazy. And I remember when I lived in New York City, I had bought one, and it cost me like $40. It was a small one, and when I opened it, it was rotten, and I couldn't return it. So it's if you know, if you're able to get it, or whoever's listening to this is very it's sour soup. Let me see how it's called in English, because I want to tell you. I know in Spanish it's called guanábana. Okay, sour soup. That's what it's called. Let me see if I can show you the how the fruit looks. Oh, it's not coming up. And you guys probably have another name for it too.
Yeah,
So
in
that's
India,
why
it
I
must
can
be calling something different.
something different, right? Okay, look, this is
Yeah.
the fruit. Hold on. Are you able to see it? Let me see. Hold on.
Oh, we don't get this fruit in India.
Yeah, it's sour soap. Sour soap.
Okay,
But
sour
yeah,
soup.
I know that because of the lighting, it's really
Yeah.
bad to see it. But yeah, so that's what I did.
Yes. So, how did you manage your emotional well-being during those times?
Emotionally,
Yeah.
okay. Before I was diagnosed with cancer, I was already like listening to like videos, motivational videos that would say like you can do it. I would listen to this one video all the time. This was before like all of this happened. I was working on my mindset. Like I was working on becoming, changing how I was thinking, becoming stronger. So I was already listening to these things. But there was this
Mm.
one video that I would listen to, and he would say, you know, whatever your diagnostics is not the final result. And that always stood in my mind. Like it doesn't matter what the doctors say,
Mm.
that doesn't just that's not your end result. So for me, I feel like every time that I would feel down, because there was moments where I would feel tired, where I felt like my life was falling apart. I had a very good job in Florida. I had to move to New York, and I had to undergo this treatment, and life changed, right? Um, Physically, emotionally. I was
Mm.
gaining a lot of weight because of the steroids. So I was feeling really sad
Mm.
about that because I didn't feel good. I didn't have the same energy that I had before. But I always had that in mind, and I journaled a lot. So whenever I would feel down, I would write, I would read books. So that helped me a lot. And also to be around my loved ones, you know, that
Mm.
genuinely like loved me. It made me feel good. So being around them, getting together with my family, it would make me forget like that I'm going through this, you know.
Yes.
So that's how I dealt with it. But after everything was done, I went into a depression. Um, for about a year and a half to 2 years, I was depressed. After I beat cancer, after the mastectomy, I didn't like my body, the scars, you know, the reconstruction process was really long, and it still didn't look good. So I felt like a part of me was like taken, and I felt like who am I anymore? Like who am I? Like what am I supposed to do? Like I don't look the same, I don't feel the same. I was grateful to be alive,
Mm.
but I felt lost. And then there was part of me that we have a breast cancer walk in New York every year. And I remember in 2017 I went to the breast cancer walk, and so this is a year like after my mastectomy. And when I was walking, I happened to get there at the same time where like they were holding the banner to start the
Mm.
walk, and the lady's like, "Oh, you're a survivor. Come walk." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So when I walked with all these survivors, and then I looked back. There's thousands and thousands of people there, and then I'm like, why is it only us and now like more people like walking with us. And this one woman said a lot of the people here are walking because their family member is no longer here. And that really like hit me, because I was like, oh my god, like why did I survive, right? Why didn't all these thousands of people, their family members, why couldn't they get through it? Why did I have to, like, I was feeling ungrateful, and I was feeling like it's not fair or
Mhm.
guilty, right? So, and I didn't realize that until after some time. I was just that I was really sad, I was really depressed, I didn't really want to do anything, um and to get, and I have two kids,
Mhm.
so they helped me a little bit to get out of it, because people, I didn't share with my family members that I was sad. So even though I was sad, I would just smile, everything is great, but it wasn't great, you know. So it's I feel like it's a roller coaster ride that you go through. And speaking to other cancer survivors, not just breast cancer, but like cancer survivors, um I realized that it's something that a lot of people handle differently, right? A lot of people handle differently. I know one woman that's kind of going through the same thing that I was going through, that she was feeling sad after the fact. So I feel like emotionally, if you look at the overall aspect of it, I handled it well. But it did have really dark moments.
Yes. So, who was your biggest support system during those times?
I get so emotional talking about it. It was one of my aunts,
Okay.
right? I get really emotional thinking about it, because when when this happened, I thought it would be my mother that would be there, but God had another plan. And I remember calling my aunt calling me, and she's like, you're not the first person, and you're not gonna be the last person to go through this. But she said, but you're strong. And she said, God knows that, and that's why you're going through this, right? And um, I remember her words. But when I went to New York, she went to every doctor's appointment, every chemo treatment, every surgery, like every single like thing. She was there. And even though it happened so long ago, I get emotional thinking about it, because sometimes the person that you think the least that is going to be there for you is the
They
person that's
become the
there for you
major
the most.
important part in your life. I have also felt many a times. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
is the person that is the person that's going to be there for you the most. And still to this day, because after cancer, I was mad. Like, I was like, why wasn't my mother there? Like, she's supposed to be there, and I was so focused on that. So I
Mm.
held resentment towards her. And then I realized that I'm like, it's who I think that was supposed to be there, but I wasn't alone. I had my aunt there the whole entire time. Like, I had a lot of doctor's appointments, a lot. And I had a lot of surgeries because of the reconstruction, and I had to remove my ovaries because of the genetics.
Mm.
So if she couldn't be there because she had like her own medical things, that she always made sure somebody was there. But for
Mm.
the most part, she was there. She was definitely my biggest supporter.
Yes. So, what were the things that helped you and made you happy on this journey?
Um, Changing how I saw life, right? I remember like before cancer, it was just work, 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 work. Everything I did was like work. I had to work because I have to support my kids. I had
Mm.
to work because this, and then I was working at a company, and I was second in command. So it was the owner of the company, and then it was me. So
Mm.
everything kind of fell upon me. So I really, like, that was my whole life, work. So during the journey, I realized I'm like, I'm not enjoying life. I'm not enjoying my family. I'm not doing things that make me happy because I'm so focused just on this one thing,
Hmm.
on just work. Like everything else, yes, I have my kids and stuff, but my main focus in life was work. So during this journey, I started to see life differently. I started to appreciate life, and they started, you know, people would be like, I don't understand why you're saying those things, right? Because they're like, you're too positive. But the reality is that I feel like when you go through a journey like this, you there's two outcomes. You can either turn out better or turn out worse, right? And I
Hmm.
I decided to turn out better, um, because you take life for granted. And I feel like I
Hmm.
took life for granted. And then at this point, I don't live my life taking it for granted.
Hmm.
I enjoy every moment. I enjoy my family. I don't stress. I don't make work my main thing, because at the end of
Hmm.
the day, look what happened with the pandemic, right? We had our
Yeah.
jobs, and then everything just got upside down because we make it so much our priority. So I would say, like, the happiest thing was learning how to live, learning how to see the beautiful things in life that we really have. I remember before I used to be like, I don't have time to go for a walk. I like nature, I like walk. I don't have time to go for a walk. And then afterwards, I decided to make time for the things that brought peace to me, to surround myself with people that would help me to grow, to become better, that make me happy. And the people that didn't, they're no longer in my life. So
Hmm.
I feel like my mindset changing, the way that I see life, was the biggest thing for me.
Yes. So, how you felt when you first heard that you are cancer free?
Um, I don't know. I feel like I felt that it was gonna happen. I felt like it was kind of like a journey, and then I
Hmm.
felt like it was at the end. Like it's kind of you're going through a marathon and you're like at the finish line. So you're like, yay, I did it. You know, that's kind of how I felt.
Hmm.
That was like, oh yeah, I did it. Like I went through all that. Okay, I had to go through that. Now we're done. You know.
Yeah. So, there are times when you feel that it's too much to handle, but you still don't give up. So, what was the one thing that motivated you and kept you going on such days?
My kids, my
Hmm.
kids,
Yeah.
because I said I want to see them grow. They were small at the time. They were 11 and 9. Um so I thought of, okay, I had to be strong for them because I want
Hmm.
to be here to see them grow up. I want to see them graduate. I want to see them get married. I want to see them have kids, right? So I would think of those things when I wanted to give up. I'm like, no, I
Yeah.
have 2 reasons to live for, not one, two. So,
And did you made any lifestyle changes during or after the treatment?
yeah, I did make a lot of life style changes. When it came to the eating, I started to eat better. I was already like in a journey because I had lost 30 pounds before.
Hmm.
Um, but I maintained it. So it's still eating healthy, drinking water, drinking tea, eliminated soda from my life. Once in a while, I'll have a little sip of, literally a little sip of soda, but no, even like with the alcohol. Used to go out with my friends and drink alcohol all the time, and I'm like, oh, I don't need alcohol to have a good time. So I made a lot of lifestyle changes. Consistent with the workouts, because I would like work out once and then I wouldn't work out for 3 months. So now I work out 3 to 5 times a week.
Yeah. And do you think that cancer has changed you in a positive way?
Yeah, definitely, definitely. Before cancer, I was selfish. I only care about
Okay.
myself. I honestly, like, everybody that knows me from then to now, they're like, you're a total different person. Because I didn't care about nothing, nobody, just me, right? And then I feel like after cancer, I started to appreciate people, I started to appreciate things. Um, it's funny, but I was talking about this yesterday in my Instagram, how it was so important, the looks, right? Like looking so good and spending so much money on a look to go to an event to impress people that you don't even know, they're gonna criticize you anyways, right? And now
Mhm.
it's more simple, like this is what I'm gonna wear, and I don't care if you like it, I like it,
Yes,
so it definitely changed my mindset a lot in a positive way.
yes. And what life lessons you got from your cancer journey?
Life lessons,
Yeah.
okay, a few. Number one, not everybody is really your friend. Um, when you're going through the hardest moments in your life, right? You're gonna know who's really there for you and
Hmm.
who's not. And so that was one. Number two is everything is no problem. Everything is everything is no problem. There's always a solution to something, right?
Hmm.
If there's a problem, there's a solution. Um, and I would say this because I would be like, oh my God, if something didn't go, I would go crazy. And I would focus so much on the problem that I couldn't find the solution because I was focusing on the problem instead of the solution. So that would be number two. And then number three is don't take don't leave for tomorrow what you could get done today, because
Hmm.
we have this fake notion that we have tomorrow, we have the future, we have, I'm going to give this person that I love a call tomorrow, next year, next month, or I'm going to accomplish this goal next year, next month, or no, we have today, we have now. So like do it now, because tomorrow is not promised. You don't know what's going to happen tomorrow, so just do it now.
Hmm.
um and then number four is I reevaluated my values in life, the things that were important. Before cancer, work was important. Work, money was important, material things, those things were important to me. Um,
Hmm.
and then after cancer, it's family, the time that I get to spend with them, the memories that I get to build, um, and providing value to other people also, to other people's life. Like how it feels good to make somebody else feel good. That makes sense? Yeah,
Yes.
like,
And
definitely.
have you ever asked yourself this question, why me? Why I have got cancer? And if yes, then how you cope up with this thought?
I never asked myself that. It's so funny because my aunt that I was telling you about, I remember her telling me one time, why you? Why you? Like, why not? Because I have my mom, and then she has four sisters. She goes, why not any of us? Why it had to be you? Like, she's like, I don't understand. And I said, I never said that. I said, I never asked myself that. So I said, don't say that, you know? Um, and I don't know why I never asked myself that, but I always felt, even from the moment that I felt the lump, that this was just part of my life, that this was part of my journey, and that there was a reason why I had to go through this, because through this journey I have been able to impact thousands of lives.
Yes.
People like directly impact that I have come across, and they're like, you changed my life because of your story, or that are going through something similar, and they're able to overcome it because they're like, oh my God, if she can do it, then I can do it. So I've never asked myself, "Mm, not then, not now, and maybe not in the future, why me?"
So, what would be a message to other cancer patients and caregivers?
If you believe that you can survive this, then you will.
Mhm.
But you have to believe it in here and in here. But if you don't believe it, that you can survive, and you let this cancer be bigger than you, then it will. And I believe that, I'm a strong believer that when it comes to cancer, you, the person, you have to believe that you can fight it before it happens. Because it doesn't matter how many treatments you do, if you in your heart don't believe that you can fight this, then your body doesn't react to it. Your mind, your heart is the most powerful, like, I think, medicine ever. So you, for somebody, if you're going through this at this moment, believe that you can get through it. If you're going through a moment where you just don't see how, right, find ways to help you believe, whether it's through video, whether it's through reading, whether it's through writing. I read a lot of books that helped me, just to get through things emotionally, because you have your hard times, right? um and also, uh, and I would say this because when I just want to share this last thing. When I was diagnosed, I had to change doctors, and I remember going to this doctor, an oncologist in Florida, and he said to me, this is exactly what he said to me. I'm never gonna forget. He said, "We're gonna do chemo, and then we're gonna do a mastectomy, and then we're gonna do radiation, and and I hope that this helps um to survive, that this helps you to survive, like to get over it." And I said, "What? You hope?" you know um his what he said to me, I took it as, you don't believe that I can get through this, right? So I said, you shouldn't talk to your patients like that. I'm not telling you to give people false hope, but the way that you spoke to me, if I was somebody whose mindset was weak, I would have not felt like I could go through this. So because the doctor tells you, you know, there's nothing we can do, don't believe it, because your body is going to react to what you believe, to your faith. So no medicine in the world is going to cure you if you don't feel like that you can get better. So definitely that would be it.
So, it is said that art or any creative thing works as healing. So, have you tried any such thing during your journey? Any creative work or any art,
Anyone?
any
Any
creative thing you tried?
creative things?
Yeah.
um no, I keep saying I'm gonna write a book about it, about the journey, and I haven't started yet. I do keep a journal. I actually have one here because I write every morning. And I have like six of them, seven of them. Just writing. But mm, what I have been focusing on is helping people to get healthier, because I do believe. So I host these challenges, on weight loss and nutrition, and just working on how learning how to eat better. Like that's been my main thing, like teaching people how to eat better, because I do believe, this is my personal opinion, that any disease or cancers or stuff, it starts with how we treat our body. And then when we're eating bad things or things that are not healthy and don't make us feel good, we're putting harm into our body, right? So it's basically like we are what we eat. So my main like focus has been since then is really helping people to eat better, to understand that um everything is in correlation with everything. If you're eating bad, you're gaining weight, you don't feel good, you don't have energy. So then if you start eating better, exercising, you start feeling better, you start looking good, you have more energy. Like it's a process. So that has been my main thing, right? And I know you focus on holistic, correct? Yeah, and that's like a big part of it, that a lot of times people don't understand that it's important, you know what we feed our body, but also what we feed our mind, right? Because if you're constantly listening to negative things, you're gonna have a negative outcome.
Yes. So how did you overcome your fear of treatment or side effects?
I never really had a fear. This is, and I think in part it was because I remember when I first was when I before I started chemotherapy, um because I was young,
Hmm.
they were really I felt like because I was young, a lot of the nurses were really nice to me. But I remember before I started chemotherapy, one nurse said to me, she said, um the difference between you surviving and you're not surviving is going to be up to you.
Hmm.
And I said, what? uh, that's that's not possible. And she said, yes, because of this, because of your mind. So I never allowed fear to creep in, and I speak to people and they're like, oh, but how do you do it? And I'm like, I don't know how to teach it. I don't know how to teach you not to have that fear, but I feel that that's why I feel like what you put in your mind is very powerful. And the reason why I never had that fear is because of what she told me, that nurse told me, when she said that I would be responsible, that it would be only be up to me whether I would survive or not, because I had to keep my mind strong, she said,
Yeah.
right? And not my body, not nothing. She said your mind strong. So that's why I didn't focus on it. I still kept working. I used to go get my chemotherapy on Monday.
Hmm.
So I would go to work in the Monday morning. Then I would go to chemo at 12. Then after I would go home, sleep. I would take the next day off. And then on Wednesday I was back at work.
Hmm.
So
Yeah. So
I didn't let it stop me. Like I'm like, okay, we're gonna continue to live as much as we can. And I would still work out, still go to the gym until my doctor told me, because your bones become your body gets weak.
hmm.
Um, until my doctor said you have to be careful because you don't want to
Hmm.
get hurt. Your body is not as strong as it was before.
Hmm.
So, but that's how I didn't allow fear in.
Yes. So
Where
when did you?
there's go ahead. Where there's fear, there can be hope or there can be faith.
Hmm.
So you have to decide which one are you gonna allow in your mind,
Yes.
fear or belief. So I chose belief.
Hmm. Yeah. So when did you think that I can beat this disease, or was this belief always there with you?
It was there. It was there from the beginning.
Hmm.
Um, it was there from. I remember sitting. I'm telling you, I know the dates. It was June 12th, 2015. It was 11 o'clock in the morning, right? When the doctor said, you have stage 4 breast cancer. And I remember thinking, the first thought was, oh my God, how am I going to tell my mother?
Hmm.
She's going to go crazy, right? And then the second thought was, all right, we're gonna get through this. Like that's why my response to her was like, okay, so what's next? Like, what do we have to do to get this thing out of my body?
Hmm.
you know.
And did you join any support group? And what do you think are the importance of such support groups?
I didn't join any support group. If I did it all over again, I probably would.
Hmm.
Um, because I have created a community with a group of people for the journey of weight loss, of getting healthier and fitness, and I see what it's done for them.
Hmm.
So I feel like even when it comes to cancer, if you have people, because sometimes we feel that we have no one, right?
Hmm.
And I realized that the reason why I didn't join a support group is because I already had one, my
Yeah.
family. But there are some people that don't have that support, so they should definitely look for a support group within people that are going through similar situations. The reason why I didn't look for a support group is because I didn't want to think of myself as a cancer patient.
Hmm.
So my thing was like, this is my support group, this is my family, we would still do activities together. We would still go out. We would still like do like different things, and that's what kept me strong and you know.
Yes. So, what do you think are the stigmas attached to cancer and the importance of awareness for it?
There's so many of them. I do feel that there's two things. This is, and they're gonna contradict themselves,
Mm.
but I do feel that we personally bring cancer to ourselves, right? With our thoughts. Because for a long time I felt guilty of something that had happened in the past,
Mm.
and I feel like that's sort of like what brought that into my life. But I also feel that food, the food that we eat, you know, brings also cancer, you know, to the body, because we're feeding it all these chemicals, all these things that eventually our cells are going to give up. So I do feel that, again, that it's the mind, and it's also, you know, the body. Like what are we putting inside our body? What was the other question?
Yeah, what do you think are the importance of awareness for these stigmas?
So I think is very important that people become more conscious, like emotionally intelligent, in the sense of understanding the way they think, the way how they think can affect their body, um,
Hmm.
the way that how they eat can affect their bodies, right?
Hmm.
um, because I know we're our main focus is cancer, but diabetes, high blood pressure, all of these things are, they come from what we're feeding our body. So it's many diseases, um, but being aware of that is important. And then the second thing is not ignoring the signs. You know,
Hmm.
um, I didn't want to accept that lump. I was like, no, I'm gonna ignore it and it's gonna go away. Do not ignore it. It's very important to touch your body, every part of your body, because cancer can happen anywhere.
Hmm.
Um, and if you don't feel good, don't diagnose yourself. Go to a doctor, you know, and get a and it's okay to get a second opinion. Before I did the treatment, I went for a second opinion because I
Hmm.
wanted to know what that doctor thought, if I should, because I didn't want to do chemotherapy. Um, you know, and that doctor also told me I recommend you do chemotherapy, um, because the cancer was, it was I think it was 1 centimeter. So it was big. It was bigger than normal.
Hmm.
Um, you know, so that's why it's important, I feel, that, you know, to be aware um of the different things, you know, that can happen within your body. Your body tells you when something is wrong.
Hmm.
Don't, so
So,
it's very important that we don't ignore it.
yes. So, if you have to sum up your journey in one sentence, then what would that be?
I never thought of that. Okay. Hmm, my journey. Cancer has been the most beautiful experience that I have gone through.
Yeah.
That would definitely be it. That would definitely be it. Because even
Yes.
though there was so many different moments, it was a beautiful experience.
Hmm.
It sounds bad,
So,
but it was.
So at zenonco.io, we help cancer patients like throughout their treatment from diagnosis to forever. So what do you think about our work?
The complications of treatment.
Yes. What do you think about
Uh,
the work that Zenonco does?
the one?
The work that zenonco.io does, what do you think about our work? Any opinion, any suggestion you want to give?
No, because I feel like everybody's different,
Yes.
right? Everybody. Thank God I reacted well, meaning to the treatment. But I've
Hmm.
known people that one thing I would say is this: before cancer, before chemo, I'm not gonna say cancer, before chemotherapy, I was sharp with my mind, talking, processing, reading. after chemotherapy, and I didn't realize this until recently, when I was talking to other people that had chemotherapy, um, I read a book and then I forget. Like my memory is not the same. So I'll read the book and I'll forget the name of the book. I'll forget some parts of the books. Um, so and then even when I speak, articulate, it's in a slower process, you
Mm.
know, and I thought it was just me. I was like, oh, maybe that was the consequences of chemotherapy. And then I remember speaking to two different cancer survivors, and they said, me too. And I said, okay, I'm not alone. So this is something that happens when you undergo chemo, because I thought I was fine, afterwards, but it wasn't. It was not the same. So I definitely think, in my opinion, that it kills your brain cells too when they're there trying to kill the cancerous cells.
Mm. So thank you so much for your valuable time, Cindy. I
Thank you
hope this
for inviting me.
session really motivates people out there who have been traveling or been traveled through this journey. So it was lovely having you here today with us on this session. And once again, thank you so much.
Thank you.